Boom! Welcome to another episode of On the Bench with Beeks. This is episode 13. I am your humble host, Cody Beekman, and with me, as always, is I'm not your boss, Ross Moormeyer.
Hey, how you guys doing?
And lay off the sweets, Keith Sanders.
What's going on, guys?
Today we are joined by a very special guest. Our incredibly special guest is Dan Williams, video engineer extraordinaire. Dan, say what's up, man.
Hello, boys. Thanks for having me here. Cheers.
Absolutely. Cheers. Crack them
Cheers.
open. Drink down what you got, everybody. So how was your week, guys? Let's start over here with Keats. Keats, how's your week, buddy?
It's been great, man. It's been great. I got off work this morning. I'm gonna be enjoying a few days off. So, yeah, we're off to a good start, man.
What about you, Ross?
Well, I've been, kicking ass and taking names at work.
Chewing some bubble gum too?
Well, once in a while, so.
Well, everybody likes bubble gum. What about you, Dan? How's it going in Williamsburg?
Oh, it's good. I'm living the COVID life. It's pretty exciting.
Oh, for real? I mean, obviously, being a video engineer, this man, he televises all your lovely sports events, and obviously after this COVID fingle dangle dingle dangle, you've just been sitting on your ass, haven't you, bud?
Yeah, I think we're at the 3-month mark of me not working, so it's pretty fun. I've become really good at yelling at my kids.
Well, I could imagine.
It's been quite boring, and it's been great. Love it.
Oh, absolutely. Just living that life, living that slug life.
Any hobbies you've been doing on this time off?
Yes. Sitting.
City.
It's been great.
Oh, have you perfected that? I mean, you're probably not up to snuff with me yet, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you're getting pretty close.
It's a close second.
All right.
Coming in
Well,
there.
I mean, I see that fat ass jiggle around the neighborhood, by
You
the
got
way.
to.
For real, absolutely. Well, you guys are in for a treat today. We've got a bunch of awesome stuff coming out of the NHL today. We, like I said, we've got a video engineer in to tell you everything about what goes on behind the scenes while you're watching your hockey game. So we're gonna get started with the Hockey Day in History, boys. So who wants to go first? Anybody have something nice and juicy to tell about?
Well, I've got something that's nice, easy, quick. But in June 11th, 1974, the Kansas City Scouts and the Washington Capitals officially receive a franchise.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. And I mean, as you know, the Washington Capitals are still an incredible, thriving franchise today. I mean, obviously, Kansas City Scouts have gone way the past, but I mean, if you can get a hold of one of those jerseys, let me know, because those things were fucking sly.
Oh, they're pricey.
All right, what do you got? What do you got, Keats?
Super easy for me too today. June 12th, 1985. Pittsburgh's Mario Lemieux won the Calder Trophy as the NHL's top rookie.
What a surprise.
Right?
What a damn surprise.
Yeah. No, he was, I mean, as we all know, well respected in Pittsburgh. He was a hell of a player.
I mean, not just in Pittsburgh, but among the league as well. I mean,
yeah.
And that flow, guys.
oh, that flow back then, too, that salad. You got to love a hockey frilla.
Well, and there's the hockey minute guys said that they were like the most recent, besides Draisaitl and McDavid, to be the first 1 and 2 guys to be like
With points,
with
yeah.
points
yeah.
and being top scorers with their team.
So that's an awesome throwback right
yeah.
there. All right, Dan, what you got, man? I see those gears turning. I see some like logs being sawed.
June 12th, 2003. This day in hockey history, I think I did my first wall sit where I was doing a camp down at Big Bear, which is in Denver, Colorado, and we were doing a camp. And I did this. I was yelling at the kids because they had lunchtime and they kind of screwed around, and it was really dirty. So we were like, everybody's doing wall sits, and they were like, you have to do it with us. And I was thinking I was Mr. Tough Kid, Mr. Billy Badass, and I was like, I'm doing a wall sit. And I sat there for probably a good 7 minutes of doing the full 90-degree wall sit. My legs were shaking, and I couldn't stand back up because I was in so much pain. And we'd been skating, all week. It's a full week-long camp.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
at the end of the camp where the kids were just getting to that spot, and I was dying. This day in hockey history,
There you go.
Dan
That is-
Williams' first wall sit.
Where I
is-
couldn't get up, I guess I should say. It hurt so bad.
Did you had just have this swarm of kids just like trying to pick you up or what?
They were amazed that I lasted 5 minutes because I beat every single one of them, except for there's like 2 kids that were in high school that were part of the camp, and they beat me, and I'll never forgive them to this day. But they were all impressed that I did it, but then 2, they also made fun of me because the next day they were like, "Hey, let's do wall sits.
Oh yeah, let's
I
go
was like,
spaghetti legs.
We're doing push-ups."
And this one's one for the books, I
Oh,
think,
put
for
your-
Hockey Day in history.
Put your money where your mouth is, right
Oh,
there.
it was miserable.
I'm surprised that they didn't bring your dinner out to you. Just like sitting there, I can't get up.
Just
Couldn't.
leave me.
I had to roll over and do a little. It's like I was frozen to a chair. It was awesome.
That's great. Hey guys, I think one thing that's worth mentioning, for all of us Colorado kids, and we spoke about it a little bit before we started recording, but just what is it, June 9th, 2001? Borky lifted his first cup.
Absolutely. And the day after, the Avs won their first Stanley Cup too in
That is
Florida. So that's always good. I mean, obviously, as Colorado kids, we're just gonna flaunt that until the day is over.
And I love what Patty Waugh said. No more rats.
Yes, no more rats. And my boy Uwe Krupp in overtime, just squeaking it in, baby. I love it. So like I said, my hockey day in history is pretty simple too. But we've talked about him before on the podcast. June 10th, this was actually yesterday. 1973, Al Arbor was named new head coach of the New York Islanders, replacing Earl Ingerfield. And we all know how illustrious Arbor's career was. I mean, we've talked about him many times. So I thought I'd throw that in today.
Nice.
Awesome, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's continue on to the this hot news coming out of the NHL. Phase 2 has officially begun on Monday.
Yep.
And if anybody's lacking or got their head in the sand, the NHL has a 4-part phase plan to return to play for the rest of the playoffs. Phase 2 is basically all of the hockey teams' facilities are open to voluntary workouts for 6 players and a very limited number of the hockey team staff.
Yep.
And so we've already seen people, teams and players flocking into their training facilities. We've had Chicago Blackhawks players, Boston Bruins players, Edmonton Oilers players, and I mean, I can only imagine that it's going to keep going even more and even more and even more.
Well, and even Cody, just to add on to that there's been some players that have been playing in like less, what is it? What do we want to call it? COVID like ridden areas, because you got Zadorov that's down there practicing with a bunch of the Russian team guys and everything in Florida, and just doing that before.
Well, yeah,
they're doing it.
you pick any spot in Russia that's actually populated by more than 10 people, I would like to see it, other than Moscow.
Right. But that's still kind of cool to see that they're like going to these places that aren't as ridden, and they're still trying to, practice before they actually get to the actual, practice facilities and stuff. They're utilizing their time wisely.
Good,
I guess.
and it's good. I like to see it. I mean, you had Jake Gensel actually talking to the media just the other day. It's like, it's just good to be back around the rink. It's good to see some of the guys and pass around the puck. What do you guys think, Keith? Dan?
No, I think it's great to see. I was gonna say I the other day whenever I was looking at the Avalanche's Facebook page, and they had a picture that they have the ice slate and everything. So they're obviously for I take it they're utilizing that for practicing and such. I believe they probably don't go to the family sports arena for now, and they're just gonna be utilizing the Pepsi Center. Not sure.
Yeah, might as well. You must be excited, Dan, because that means you might get back to work.
It would be very nice. I know we'll talk about it a little bit later what I do, but I was just thinking, like, when you talk about getting the players together, you've seen them working out on Facebook and Twitter, little clips of them doing weird oddball things at their house, where they're, even throwing a football, something different just to stay active. And once they get together at a facility, even if it's with 2 or 3 other guys that has the same talent level, the mentality is going to change, and they're going to start getting into it. Getting, that social interaction is going to be huge for them. Chemistry is going to start to build. They're going to have something unique because they've been separated for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And this will probably really see what the teams that have good chemistry and don't come when we actually start playing hockey again and the puck drops.
That's an incredible point. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at with. I mean, just Jake Gensel saying that he's so happy being around some of the other guys. I mean, even Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron, they tweeted a picture just like so happy to see some of the boys again.
Oh, yeah.
And I totally agree with you. That's going to be a huge stepping stone for team chemistry when they do come back, because I mean, we got to look at it pretty much like this, is that this was just a summer break at this point, and so we all know training camps are for getting that chemistry back. So when you see these see these players and stuff coming back and playing with other people, that's going to be huge.
Oh, yeah.
When the gun initially gets shot off.
Oh, yeah, because their preparedness is just going to be heightened at that point, honestly. And that's just going to be great because it'll add to the actual team practice and everything, because they've got all the jello out of their legs, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the old spaghetti legs over there, Williams over. Yeah, you care to bet how many wall sits they've been doing over a break?
I'm going to say just, probably 1,000 each, and they probably didn't last more than 5 minutes, I can tell you.
Yeah, well, it's hard, man. I think we've all done wall sits before.
Oh, yeah.
That's gnarly. Well, so just to add to more of this, the NHL released a statement saying all teams must adhere to the Phase 2 protocol that was released by the NHL and the NHLPA on May 25th. The 21-page document is intended to provide players with a safe and controlled environment to resume their conditioning. So they've got to. From what I see, so that's pretty strict. So you see like at least 10 to 15 players out there. I think someone's going to say something.
Yeah, and if I were to guess, they're probably following something similar, kind of like what the restaurants and stuff are doing. You probably walk in, you gotta have the mask on or something essentially, and they probably take your temperature before you get into a facility, and then kind of move forward from there.
Yeah.
If I were to guess.
I would assume that they would put, maybe the only people on the ice at a time, maybe you put the defense out there, or maybe you just only skate with your line, and you have 20 minutes doing that, maybe some, room kind of in the coach's room, maybe do some dry land type stuff, and you kind of just keep it in different groups. I can see that easily happen if they have to limit it, because each state's going to be different with their requirements. And the NHL, even though they have that 21-page booklet, you still have to do whatever the states do individually.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
On maybe not getting that full chemistry together as a team, because they might not be able to do the full practice, but if you get your line mates with you and you get to hang out for even 10 minutes on the ice, that's game changer.
Oh, that can mean the world right there.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
You're so right.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's been so many times you get back with your line after not seeing them for a long time, or like your D partner, and it's almost like once you finally see them, it's just like nothing ever happened. So I think that's going to be pretty good. So the last part of this is the Deputy Commissioner, Bill Daly, said he expected all 24 teams in the return to play plan to open prior to the transition of Phase 3.
Right.
And that will be the start of training camps. You'll be seeing players from Europe come back, and they're looking at a July 10th for the start of Phase 3.
Yeah, and that will be full team practices, if I'm recollecting that correctly.
Yeah,
right?
as per maximum testing for everybody, of course.
Yep.
And after that, they're gonna move into what might be said like a 2-week training camp,
Yeah.
and then possible exhibition games after that. But right now, it's just good to hear that the NHL is moving into phase 2 of this return to play plan.
No, that's great, man. And then I was gonna ask, because I can't remember. I know we talked about it. All the European players, do they get to do the whole 2-week gig when they get back to the United
Yes.
States,
Yes,
or is
they
it
do.
dependent on where they're coming from?
You have it's just you have to be quarantined for
Gotcha.
14 days. So
So yeah, and I would imagine now that a lot of voluntary workouts are happening. They're going to be looking into coming back as soon as possible to get that 2-week quarantine out of the way as soon as possible, so they can at least jump on the ice within range of their other players.
and know that they're actually good and free and clear of the COVID.
Well, and I mean that's the biggest thing too is making sure everybody's safe. So hopefully, as long as everything moves well, we'll be seeing phase 3 here within maybe a month.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So moving on, there's been some other rumblings in the hockey sphere. This is kind of pretty cool because I think a lot of people have read the article that Akeem Alou wrote for the Players Tribune. Really kind of outing a lot of like racist and kind of like hazing activities that were really gnarly. Like about I would almost say even a month ago. And at the end of it, he really called he ended it with a call to action to really take a step and eradicate a lot of this racism and just taunting and just cruel hazing activities. He and a few other players have actually formed the Hockey Diversity Alliance, and if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to read the presser real quick. All right, so for immediate release, we love our sport. We believe that hockey is the greatest sport in the world. As minorities who play professional hockey, we have come together to create Hockey Diversity Alliance, HDA. We have appointed Akeem Alou and Evander Kane as our co-heads, and our executive committee includes Trevor Daley, Matt Dumba, Wayne Simmons, Chris Stewart, and Joel Ward. Our mission is to eradicate racism and intolerance in hockey. We will strive to be a force for positive change, not only within our game of hockey, but also within society. Although we will be independent of the NHL, we are hopeful that we will work productively with the league to accomplish these important changes. We believe that the importance of accountability in developing inclusively and diversity for all involved in our sport, including fans and the league office. We will promote diversity at all levels of the game through community outreach and engagement with youth, and we'll endeavor to make the game more affordable and accessible. We will also focus on educating the hockey community about racism issues confronting the sport, while advocating for acceptance and equality. We've partnered with a charitable fiscal sponsor, and we will be launching a charitable division in the coming weeks to assist us in achieving our objectives. In creating our alliance, we are confident we can inspire a new generation of hockey players and fans. We are hopeful that anyone who puts on skates and sits in the stands will do so without worrying about race, gender, socioeconomic background, and will be able to express their culture, identity, values, and personality without fear of retribution. We are united in our efforts and promise to work tirelessly to bring about the change our sport and society needs. Signed by Akeem Alou, Evander Kane, Trevor Daley, Matt Dumba, Wayne Simmons, Chris Stewart, and Joel Ward.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that. So what I want to get at is that this is people have been saying it for years that there's a problem with diversity in hockey. I mean, that's the age-old joke, like a bunch of white people get together to swack around a black puck, And I think this is a huge step in actually doing something to eradicate some of this judgment, intolerance in the sport. And not everybody would read the Akeem Alou article in the Players Tribune, but I mean, me, I'm a hockey head. If anything comes out about hockey, I'm going to be
Right.
reading it. So and there was some scary things that I saw in that article, which it really made me kind of just sad.
Yeah,
You
spoke volumes to you basically. So
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the NHL has the Hockey Diversity Day every year,
oh yeah,
but I mean, there's a lot more you could be doing, and I feel like the Hockey Diversity Alliance is a huge step in the right direction. What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, am I like sitting over here alone, or I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts about it?
No, I agree with you, man. I read the article as well, and we kind of spoke about it just a little bit yesterday, and
Yeah.
it was deep, man, and it was very hard to read. Some of the things that are in there, like you said, like some of the almost like the initiations or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
The things that they did, it was like terrible. And like for us, like Cody, we played on the same team. Like, yeah, guys do some stupid things in the locker room, and there's a lot of crap talking and making fun of each other, but it's to a certain level, and we laughed about, there's always the old trick, you would put clear tape on someone's blades and then watch him skate out and fall over and haha, like things like that. But some of the things that Kim wrote, the hot water being thrown on and all that stuff was like, holy crap.
Yeah,
I was
stripping
like, I
down.
couldn't believe it. Yeah.
yeah, it was like almost like a terrible like college hazing or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's
It's-
exactly what I thought
and
about.
honestly, like with this league, if you want to do that, go get a job at McDonald's.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
there's the door.
I'm serious. There's the door. We have no room for this crap.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan? I mean, just hearing it from, just surface glance, or how do you feel?
I think it's encouraging. It's what needs to happen in a sport that's predominantly white. I had the privilege at the All-Star game when it was here. Oh no, it wasn't the All-Star game. It was when the Avs had the outdoor game at Coors Field,
Oh right.
and
okay.
I met a Hall of Famer, Willie O'Ree.
Oh.
And that was a highlight. I mean, the guy was unbelievably nice. He posed for a picture. I mean, he was happy to do it.
Oh yeah.
He was, 80 something at the time, maybe 80. Just the nicest guy. And to think what he went through as a Boston Bruin, being the first black hockey player to jump in the league in like 57, I believe it is, and he played till 1979, which is a great year, by the
yeah.
way.
Gee, I wonder why.
You were born.
Yahtzee. But if you think about it, when he ended playing was 41 years ago. So not when he started, which he had a long career.
Oh yeah.
But now it's 41 years later, and now we're getting to something where there's enough African American players coming together and saying, hey, we need to do something about this. There's only so many programs you can do, which they all do in their communities, and things are great. There was one here in Denver, Shaka Ice, I believe is what it was called. I'm not sure if it was still around, but it was a great program and organization.
Yeah, that's still going on, actually.
Which is great, and we need to fund that type of stuff because
Yeah.
they used to come to Big Bear, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But now you have a group of superstars who are saying, hey, let's bring this to a let's take it out of our neighborhoods and out of our cities where we grew up, and let's get it on the mainstream. And now it's getting to a spot where hopefully everything changes and it gets a little bit more inclusion added.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're not talking, just go super PC. Everybody's wearing like water wings and stuff. But I mean, there are some real problems within professional sports that do need to be addressed.
Oh yeah, and at least they're starting to get a foothold in it. And
and it's not just for players, like minority players. I mean, we're talking about like like homosexual players and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like.
You can be you can be poor. They will fund
exactly.
the skates,
Yeah.
everything. It don't matter what you are, where you come from. They're gonna do it.
And it really promotes the idea that hockey really truly is for everyone, which
exactly.
I think we've been needing. Keith, you look like you want to say something.
No, because it's like it kind of reminds me of like there were like everyone knows I was born in Latvia. Yeah, it's been talked about before. I guarantee you there were hundreds of kids that would have loved the chance to play hockey, and they just simply couldn't because their parents couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford to buy the gear and stuff. You know what I mean? And imagine even somewhere here, I guarantee you there's thousands of kids that would love the chance to try the sport, and there's probably so much talent out there, and it's just simply people just don't do it because like
Monetary.
I'm sorry, son, or we can't do it because the gear's just so outrageous expensive. Not only that, but ice time and
Oh yeah.
to get in the leagues and stuff.
I mean, even in-house leagues, you got money for ice time. You got money for all the gear that you're gonna need, jerseys, everything, man. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it has been it's an astronomical amount to ask to play, even just in-house hockey. And that's another thing I love about this this alliance is that they're going to be not only working for tolerance and within the sport, but they're going to expand the sport so much more. And I don't know if you guys saw that Max Kellerman bullshit that saying that the U.S. doesn't care about hockey on ESPN, but this is a perfect chance to expand the game within the U.S.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all over the place too. I mean, we've talked, like, I think it was our first episode ever, Keith, that we talked about a Jamaican national team.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And I mean, this is the perfect way to expand the sport beyond anybody's wildest dreams. And I think this is a great thing, and I'm going to be following really close. And I really got to say big ups to every single one of these men that are brave enough to stand up and say, we're not going to take this shit anymore. We're going to help change the game for better.
Oh yeah. No, and I'm kind of like hoping that they're going to like do more of the out of the U.S. and Canada games like they've done in China and do especially like in the China, Finnish, and that's fine. They've already got their own hockey clubs, but start drawing in like countries that don't have it and everything like that.
I mean,
it'd be awesome.
Well, what's been cool is that lately we've been getting a lot of likes on the Facebook from like Romania, Croatia, a lot of countries that you wouldn't first think about hockey.
Oh no.
And that's gonna reach out to them too. I mean, for how far this could possibly go, you never know.
Oh no.
And I think it's going to be a great opportunity, and I really hope the NHL sticks real close to these guys. So we'll see. And apparently, there's going to be more, more information to come. And as soon as we do, we'll definitely keep you updated and all that. And for right now, let's get into Dan the Wonder Man cameraman.
Woo!
Yeah.
Is this horn worthy or what?
Oh, I think it's horn worthy. Yeah, like hit it. Oh, Dan Williams.
Do it.
He's
and
here.
Boom! Your ratings just went down.
That's all right. We don't have very good ratings, anyways. So Dan Williams, he is an Emmy-winning video engineer.
Oh. And it wasn't even for hockey, as I'm reading it right now.
It wasn't, but I mean, it's still an Emmy.
Yeah.
And we have it right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah, we've been talking this entire time. Look at this golden statue of just pure beauty, I suppose.
It's heavy as hell. Oh my god, I would never have expected
It weighs
that,
a ton.
Dan. Like for what it is,
Yeah. It's pretty impressive. It's 18 inches tall or something, so it's a good size. 7.5 inches base,
No big
if you
deal.
know the specs, who does that?
Did you drop a tear when you got that thing? Did you thank your
I
mom
knew
and
it was gonna
dad and
happen, and
your wife?
it was just, I knew it was just about a matter of time. No, they're extremely hard to get. It was pretty cool. And last year I had 2 chances to win and nothing. This year I have another 2 chances, so we'll see what happens. We should have already known, but COVID has changed all that, so we'll see. It's a fun accomplishment, something to say. All right, my job, I kind of recognizing how much work goes into what we do, doing the TV and everything else,
yeah.
and So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, so I mean, I know we've got a bunch of questions, so we're gonna fire some at you. Ross, what do you got there, bud?
Well, I want to know how you kind of got into hockey and just like your background with like getting into also the sports, just the video side of it, and just the actual audio side as well.
It kind of all started back in, I already dated myself on my age, but we saw when I was in high school, like rollerblading was the thing to do, and
Right.
jumping off ramps and everything else. And so doing that in junior high and everything else, I really had a good sense of balance, I guess. And when I was up in college, we had, up in Greeley, Colorado, we had
Cowtown.
this JBS Sports, and all they had was a inline rink, and that was when inline was first starting to take off. And so I was playing that for a while, and then kind of just moved in. And once I got done, going to college, actually I was still living up there, and started playing down at Big Bear, and was just having a blast in the beer leagues and playing with tons of people throughout my career of just playing. Different, like when you start playing the beer leagues, you start playing against former pros,
Oh, yeah.
former top college athletes, and then you have some of these guys that never made it because they didn't push themselves, but some of them are better than a lot of those guys playing in the beer league.
Oh yeah, because they
And
have that
it-
drive
yeah.
basically.
And it got me to a point where I could understand the game, and it transitioned when I started being a cameraman, doing for the Avs and the Nuggets and all that type of other sports. But it really helped me in hockey because instead of looking at the puck, what everybody does, I was actually looking at people's hips. And I was saying, all right, this guy's going to go, because when you zoom in tight, all you see is stick, a puck, and a
Yeah.
guy, maybe a defenseman, and then it kind of, which way are they going to go? So you start looking at the hips, which you start learning.
Kind
when
of
you're playing hockey.
learn how to predict the play.
Yeah, you
in a way.
totally know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And that helped me out tremendously when I first started getting in TV, and when I was still playing and everything else. Luckily, I have 3 wonderful children that cost me a lot of money, and I don't have time really to play anymore, which is kind of sad.
Well, I mean, at least you still got the past glory.
Yeah, back in my day.
Back in my day.
If I had an Al Bundy for hockey, we need to get one of those guys up.
Oh yeah.
We might have to make a meme for you. You
Oh,
know?
that'd be perfect, right?
I think
But-
I think we need to get you back on the ice again.
Oh, it'd be awesome. We used to have like a media skate where all the
Uh-huh.
TV guys would get together, and it was a lot of fun. I was actually just cleaning out my hockey gear the other day because I had a water pipe break, which is awesome. Thank you, COVID.
Oh yeah,
But
baby.
luckily I was home, and I was going through, and I was doing a lot of reminiscing because I was cleaning out my hockey bag, and I found all my old crests that I used to have when I was a USA hockey ref.
jeez.
When I was up at Sun Micro, well, it was called Sun Microsystems.
Yeah.
We had a little badge that said, you put your little chest there when you're a referee, and I refereed down at Big Bear. And
So
I used to work at Big Bear for many years, which was a lot of fun.
Well, and I was about to ask about that. Like, what got you involved with Big Bear? Because you mentioned that, like,
Yeah.
when we first got started and everything. So, what got you involved down there, and what exactly were you doing?
When I was
So-
up in Greeley at JBS doing the inline stuff,
Right.
the guy who was running the place was called Derek Theedy. Well, he still is called it, I guess. 'cause
Shout
that's
out
his
to
legal
Derek.
given name, Derek Theedy, which he's a phenomenal hockey player. He actually flipped me upside down one time. We were playing a game where we actually had a keg at center ice, and every time you passed, you passed it, you had to take a pull. And he lined me up,
jeez.
and he's shorter than me and a lot skinnier than me, and he lit me up. I did a full 360, and everybody was laughing. I just sat there like, wow, that little guy just clobbered me. And I wish that we would have had cell phone video at the time, because
Yeah, you
people, it would have made Sports Center.
Would've been
Yeah,
like-
those old twisty videos.
Yep, and he looked at me and he goes, take a pull. As I'm sitting there with a nice little yard sale.
Oh, dominance.
But he knew Doc Bob. And if you guys know, been in adult hockey league for, since the early 2000s, maybe in the late 90s, Dr. Bob Dore was, and still is, a good organization. They have a lot of players, a lot of past players. That's the sweater I'm sporting today, a little throw out to Dr. Bob, but he
Oh yeah,
knew
looking good.
Derek and Bob were really good friends. And
Right.
so they were like, hey, why don't you come down here and start playing? I did that. And then when I moved down back to Denver, Bob was like, "Hey, you want to drive a Zamboni?" And I was like, "Sure." And my buddy Sean Sandifer was like, "I'm going to teach you everything you need to know."
Just pulling up on his bootstraps.
Oh, it was
I'll let
awesome.
you
We had a
know.
lot of fun. We used to race because, I mean, it takes 10 minutes to do a cut if you're doing it right.
Oh, yeah.
You got 15 minutes, so you got 5 minutes to dry or so, and we would try to do it in like 4 minutes. I mean, we were just racing. I've smashed that Zam into those boards so hard. You had people in the viewing area that had glass behind it. They could hear the thump just looking down at me, and I'm like, do-do-do-do-do.
No big deal.
No big
Just
deal.
cleaning the ice. Don't worry about it.
Just driving a $100,000 little Volkswagen, because that's what the engines are in a Zamboni, smashing it on some boards.
It's like Paul Walker versus Vin
Yeah.
Diesel. You guys are like starting off on one line. You're
Yep.
like, all right, let's go.
We would open up the Zam doors, get to each side because they had a red rink and a green rink, and then we'd take off. And then the first one back to dump their bin would win. Sometimes it'd be a better cut than others, but, it was all in fun.
Hey, man, as long as you got that win, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and Big Bear was a lot of fun back in the day. So many memories. You guys always talk about, the things that you did with your teammates or your coworkers, and it was a great time. I miss it. It was fun, but then I had to get a real job and kind of move on.
And so what made you actually decide to go into, video engineer, like camera work and stuff like that?
When I was in college, I had a professor. I was really good at giving speeches because I couldn't do anything else. but
So
I
you could talk out your ass.
So I had a speech teacher that was like, "You need to get into broadcasting," and he kind of like blew it over. A year passed, and he was like, "Hey, we really need you to get into broadcasting." So he marched me down to the broadcasting office, and he's like, "This guy needs to be in your department. You guys need this guy," and everything just kind of fell in place. I did the student newscast where I was like a reporter and a sports anchor, and had a lot of fun doing that. And then I helped out doing some stuff for Altitude, and they were like, "Hey, you want to run camera next weekend?" Because somebody had bailed and they needed somebody, and I was like, "Sure," and I kind of did it for free. And then I kind of found out that they get paid a pretty decent wage at the time, because I was sharpening skates and zamboning ice every hour and 15 minutes.
Driving
So-
up from Denver.
Yeah, so I was like, "Hey, I'll give it a try." And I was scared to death. I showed up in like a button-up shirt and some slacks, and people were laughing at me. They built my camera wrong because I didn't know how to build one of those things. And it just kind of blossomed. And then after I did camera for 3 or 4 years, I started moving into video. And the video is we paint the pictures. We make the brightness, the colors. We make them so they all match. So when you put all the cameras together, when they cut from the big wide game camera to the tight camera, like on ice, you want the white to be white.
Yeah.
On the
Oh, yeah.
Avs jersey, do you want it to be red or do you want it to be maroon?
You make it more vibrant.
You have to make it
basically.
the same so that when it chops, and depending on the lighting, the situation, everything changes. So that's what I pretty much do is I sit in the TV truck and paint the cameras pretty much.
That's pretty cool, man. And I was actually when I was still going to high school and stuff, I had a huge interest in that as well. And I did like the school news and all that
nice.
for like 3 years, and I was very interested and almost went to Art Institute of Colorado. That's where I wanted to go for video production.
Oh, yeah.
But things changed and whatnot, and I'm in a whole different career right now. But yeah, I wanted to kind of dig into it a little deeper and see, because I mean, we talked about it a little bit before we started recording. Obviously, when it comes to the sports, you have, your players and, person that sets the ice and the lights and stuff. But then we got you guys, the cameraman and the video engineers and stuff. And that's again a whole different aspect of the sports side, you would say. So I guess how does it all exactly work from your eyes? How do you guys set that, and how does it really work, I guess?
Well, people don't understand that. They think that everything's just kind of set up and you just kind of show up and do.
Just press
Just tell
record
them,
and
And it doesn't work that way, because if you think about the camera, each camera costs anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000, depending on if it's what type of camera it is, if it's a super slow-mo, and that's just the camera. So if you think you have 10 cameras at an Avs game, you can do the math. That's a lot of money. And then you have the television truck that has to hold all the equipment. You have the replay machine. You have the switcher that cuts up the images so you can select different cameras and different replay, different sources. You got graphics, all that other things. Those all cost a gooble amount of money. My piggy bank isn't going to cover it at all.
Oh, no way.
And so you can't have one just at the Pepsi Center sitting in Denver. You can't just have it just being there because it costs so much money. So the trucks actually move from location to location, sport to sport, and they all do everything. So we have to get there a minimum of 6 hours before puck drop to start setting up. And we take all the cameras out, we take all the monitors out for the announcers, the headsets, the crowd mics that go on the ice, the mics in the hallways for the interviews, which all that's now going to change with COVID. And it completely kind of comes 180 where you have everything kind of sitting in a sense where you had beforehand probably about 60 people to make a production when you do an Avs game. Between utilities that help out and will get everything and run and help whatever we need something to be put together, all the way up to the directors, producers, and then you got the studio crew. There's a lot of people that are involved just at the Pepsi Center for a single game.
So per normal, about how many cameras do you guys set up for, say, like an Avs game?
There's usually about 10 manned cameras.
Okay.
So they have people behind them swinging it left and right, depending on if it's a big hard camera, and then you have 2 to 3 handhelds. It all just depends on if you have somebody between the benches. You got somebody on each goal line, left and right. We have 2 robotic cameras that for the Avs.
The ones that kind of like move
right on the glass. Yeah,
Yep.
right,
Yeah,
one's
like
right behind the net. The other one's a speed shot at the penalty box.
Yeah, the Arby's RoboCam, they always say. Yeah.
And that comes down to cost. Like everything has to be sponsored because it's so expensive to make a game. And that's why you always see all these graphics with everything being put in, because besides having to rent the truck, you got the employees, you got airtime. There's a lot of things that go into it. I also am lucky enough to do a lot with the Golden Knights, and they have 3 robos. So you have both end zones plus the speed shot in the middle, and it kind of depends. So you have all these manned cameras, but then you also have the point of view cameras. So you have little kicker cams that are like in the dasher, like shooting up.
Yeah.
You might have one from the center ice robo from the center hugging scoreboard. And usually that's a robotic, and you kind of see it like twisting for the face-off.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of extra elements besides manned cameras. So sources-wise of like cameras that you see per game, it's usually about 25 different things.
Well, impressive.
That's mind-boggling.
that literally blew me away.
Yeah.
So yeah, you talked about doing a lot with the Golden Knights, and I mean, obviously, we all know they're a new up and coming franchise. What was it like? I mean, just being there, and were you were you in the manning the? God damn it! I would love to learn how to speak. Speech therapy. Anybody, just hit me up. Cody Beekman on Facebook. Anyways, so were you manning the camera a lot, or were you more like in the truck for the Golden Knights? And how is it there? At the T-Mobile Arena, because a lot of the NHL media, they want to make it seem like every night is just pandemonium, trying to sell the franchise. Like what did you like kind of experience while being out there? Because you do like basically every one of their home games.
I do quite a few. So I do all the home for AT&T Sportsnet, their video. So I'm in the truck painting all the cameras. I've never done camera there. So I started to do camera when I first started, and then transitioned into video. So now I'm probably doing 90% video, and then maybe 10% doing camera. Most in the summer doing like some Rockies and stuff like that, just to fill in. And I enjoy it, But the majority of the time I work, I'm doing video. But I was there for game 1, the 2 preseason games, even before the official night, and I was there that night as well. So I've been there since the very beginning, and the crowds haven't changed. It's what you see in the media is true. It's sold out. It's loud. It's raucous. I've been lucky that I've been there when NBC is taken. So I've, especially the playoffs, like I do a pregame show, and then was able to go in and see the puck drop. So the very, very first ever playoff game, I was in there for the first puck drop, and it's loud. It's raucous.
Really?
Not only do you have a lot of out-of-towners, obviously because it's Vegas, that are coming to support their team, but then you also have the normal fan that isn't associated with that team, but they're just coming because they're in Vegas. And then you have the fan base in Vegas and Henderson and Nevada, and
That's
they have
true.
really gotten behind their team. They have T-Mobile Arena is right on the Strip, right by New York, and Summerlin is out to the west, maybe half hour, 45 minutes. That's their training facility,
Uh-huh.
and every day they have practice out there, and they have 5,000 people of the Vegas strong that live there. They come to practice.
Wow.
You don't see that anywhere
Yeah.
else.
No. Yeah. I think maybe the Avs had that when they first might have come here, but I mean, 5,000 fans just showing up for a practice. That's insane.
And then they all kind of caravan down a couple hours later, go to the game, and you see a lot of the same people in the stands at the same spots because they all have season tickets, and they renew them. You know, it's expensive out there to go to a game, standing room only. It's expensive. It's hard to get a ticket, and it's justified. I mean, it's a fun experience. They put on a good show, not only on the ice but off. And if you go outside, even if you don't go to a game, they have Tobisha Square, right?
You know better than I would, but
I should know it even better because it's a television brand.
Tubishi or something.
Yeah, that's what it is. They have
Yeah.
the square right outside that has a big jumbotron. And they play the games
Oh,
outside.
yeah.
So you see the people that don't have a ticket will stay outside and they hit the horn outside and put goal on this huge jumbotron that's outside the arena. So it's still a party, and you see that place packed, and you got people outside. So you have not only a sellout inside, but you got a huge crowd outside.
That are still going
Yeah.
nuts.
So if you are in Vegas and a game's going on, you don't have a ticket, go out there, check out the vibe. It's electric.
That's pretty
nuts.
cool. I wish we had something like that. I almost feel like I think a lot of people. I know there's still the social distancing aspect and stuff, but I feel like that's something some other teams might be looking into, especially with hockey season starting up and people wanting to watch the games and stuff. You know.
Yep.
Well, they're a bit ahead of the curve. I mean, obviously, you see all these teams doing it during the playoffs, and they're just doing it during the regular season, and that's pretty crazy. And so, I mean, I think that kind of puts to bed all this like, oh, the Golden Knights have shitty fans. They're just bandwagon jumpers. I mean, I'm glad to see it because it's. I mean, it helps the game of hockey. It helps. I mean, it helps the Golden Knights grow into not so much as like a joke, but like an actual franchise.
I think it's a good stepping stone and platform for Seattle when they come into the league, which I'm pretty hoping that it'll be the Seattle Murder Hornets. That'd be pretty sweet. I've seen a logo for that. My buddy Jimmy Armentrout out north in Seattle had showed me a picture of that, and I think they need to run with it. It'd be perfect.
That's great.
The social distancers.
Yeah. But if they can get the same thing in Seattle that Vegas does, and if they can learn from it, and Vegas gives them, a couple pointers, run with it. You got Cirque du Soleil that does some of the intermissions and does some. Usually, it's when the Canadians come. They'll because it's always broadcast, all over Canada.
Oh yeah.
And so it's pretty sweet to see that type of stuff when you get something local in there to kind of showcase the city. And if Seattle can do that, and even if Denver did it a little bit more,
I agree.
Be something kind of unique, something fun than just going out and getting a hot dog and a beer at intermission.
Yeah, for real. I mean, you always have those mini mites playing. I'm like, yeah, I've seen a bunch of 8-year-olds play hockey before. I think we all have.
I was there.
Cute for like 2 minutes, and then it's like, all right.
Like, all right.
Time to move on.
Unfortunately, I never got to be one of those mini mites, but good for them, I guess.
We were all 8 and playing though at one time. That's
I always wanted to. I was like, I could be out there. I could make it to the show.
all of us.
You always get that one kid just circling everybody, and you're like, yeah, he's a good skater, but he's going to get train wrecked once he gets to squirts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, hey, buddy, just wait till you start hitting. Keep your head up, kid.
Yeah. You're gonna get plowed.
So I mean, obviously, just the way you've perceived this, it's a tough kind of job. What's more like the benefactors, or like what's the stuff that you like doing within it?
Well, the best thing is I get paid to watch professional sports.
Yeah.
And besides that, and once that kind of died down, the TV trucks are always parked next to the dumpsters, which we always make a joke about. But then at the same time, it's always a ramp for the player entrance, and you always see the players come by. You can kind of tell who's down to earth, who's not, and from all the different sports that I do, you always see that the hockey guys are by far the nicest. They always will talk to you. They'll say hello. They won't, kind of strong arm you and kind of blow you off. But if you say something to them, they'll respond like a decent human being.
Yeah.
And that's one of the coolest things that I like about hockey. When I was playing, that I could say, hey, that guy just said hi to me. You know, when other times you'll walk by and people will be like, you'll just be like, hey, how's it going? And they'll be like, hey, you can't talk to that guy. I'm not talking to him, I'm just saying hi, being friendly. And then in hockey, they'll talk back. Like Joey Sakic, he used to always say hi. He was nice. Forsberg, back in the day, they were always nice. Yeah. And you always hear stories from the old timers about the old players. They'd be like, oh, yeah, we used to hang out and we used to do this before it got too much to be, social media where everybody kind of clamps down and shuts down.
Oh, yeah.
The players nowadays, you have their media all the time.
Yep.
So back when I first started, they would just walk by us and no big deal. Now, because of Facebook Live and everything else, you have player reps with each team that are filming them come from their car, getting them out, walking into the stadium, walking to the dressing room.
Here he is in his suit. Well, that was an interesting wardrobe choice there, Dan.
Yeah, they have that all the time.
Yeah.
And you see it all the time. So it gets less and less where you can kind of talk to them because now you're now being filmed as well.
Yeah.
And it's a different vibe, but at the same time, the hockey players will still say something, or maybe they'll talk back at you and be, kind of throw a jab or two as you're walking by. It's just a different vibe.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. And I think we can all agree. I mean, we've had our fair share of meeting hockey players, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. They're probably some of the nicest, in the spotlight kind of people.
Yep, that is true. Like, Glenn Healy, met him up at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like, one of the nicest guys that I talked to up there. Like, we were in a group, and he just was like, well, you don't talk wine, do you? I was like, no. And he goes, let's have a beer together.
Nice.
And he's just an outstanding guy, just down to earth, as you said, and just one of those old guys. You just figure, like, Lindros and a bunch of these other players were there.
Lindros is a dick.
Well, and Elias didn't even speak a word.
I could see him just being really quiet, but I know for a
was.
Fact that Lindros is just a total dick.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, you'd have to ask Todd's wife, Tiffany, about that one. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you got a nice set of Hooters.
Oh, my God.
Then I think he's... That's just from the story that I've heard,
Basically, that's you just like, oh, there's a lady here. Well, no, take a picture with this guy.
Sorry, Todd's wife.
Okay.
I hope you didn't. I hope you're not getting mad about that one.
She might actually laugh because that was kind of funny.
But I mean, hey, good on you.
Yeah, right.
So, hey, Dan, one thing I want to ask you, too, is with everything going on with the COVID stuff, and, we talked earlier, NHL's getting into the phases, and I'm sure other sports are doing the same thing. Have you guys heard on anything on the broadcast side, how it's all going to work out, or any news that maybe we might not hear?
So I haven't heard officially what hockey's going to do, but I have heard from what some of the other sports are going to do, and they're pretty much going to restrict a lot. You see nowadays the memes and everything where they have like the new way to do a man on the street interview, and if you see it from Canada, you see a butt end of a hockey stick with a microphone taped. And you've kind of seen those out there, right? Because people are putting their arms out, and then you got this smart guy that taped a microphone to a hockey stick. And so now you're going to have that. So no longer will you get the laces and faces where you go in to locker rooms before the game and you see them kind of tying up their skates, putting on their, tucking their jersey into their elbow pads.
Yeah.
That type of stuff is gone. So that's going to probably not come back, I would assume, going forward. The interviews post-game, how you kind of have like the coach's scrum or a player's scrum,
Right.
where it's just kind of right outside the locker room. It's kind of raw, dirty. That stuff's all going away. So the interaction between the players is going to change. They're going to try their best to get as much coverage. Hockey's awesome because you have glass and dasher separating the TV crew, the fans, everything else from the actual players. So you can put as many cameras as you want normally where they're at. Between the benches, that's gone. So you won't have a camera guy. pretty sure you're not going to have announcers down there anymore.
Yeah, I could imagine that one's going to be going out pretty quick,
And
I'm not gonna lie, that always bothered me a little bit.
especially when it's Pierre Maguire.
The guys are
that puck flying by his
Oh
head.
man, yeah. Sorry, go
no.
ahead.
What I
Keith.
was gonna say is, I was like, man, I always thought to myself, is like the players have to be annoyed. They're in the zone. They're trying to focus on the game, and then the broadcast walks up to the coach and be like, "Hey, so what do you feel right now?"
Hey, buddy,
It's
how's
like,
your game going there?
Oh my!
You
It's
know?
like, go away. I'm trying
Yeah.
to.
Well, and he'd be like 3 inches from their face, just almost kissing them.
Well,
it seemed
especially
like.
Pierre too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
every single time you see
Okay,
Pierre talking
well,
to anybody, it's like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
how's
half,
game
half the time
going?
is you can't hear. So, it makes it a weird it's a weird dynamic
Yeah.
because they look so close and the camera actually makes it look even closer, which is kind of funny.
Oh
Yeah.
But then you have half the time they'll be like, "What?" and then they have to repeat the question, and that's just bad TV.
Why
know,
you
it's
gotta
not their
ruin it
fault.
for me? I just want to think Pierre Maguire's
Oh.
a creep, bud.
Sorry, my bad.
Don't be
Man,
Canadian
No, that
right now.
no,
bud.
that no, that's
Sorry.
no. Jeez. Well, there goes the last of our Canadian listenership.
Oh, shush.
Sorry, boys.
We gotta have somebody up in Red Hook up there talking, right?
Yeah, right.
Red Deer.
You hear these Yanks talking about being Canadian? I fucking tell you, I'm about to have fed up with them. I'm gonna send them a letter.
Well, sweet. Maybe at least COVID's maybe taken one thing
Yeah.
away.
Oh,
that
for sure.
no
Yeah.
one will miss.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think you ask a lot of hockey players, and like you could do away with that. Like, oh, so how's your game going? Right in the middle of the entire the period.
Yeah,
And
I
you
never-
you can tell that the coaches are just like, I'm trying to focus on the game. I don't have enough time to answer the same damn 3 questions that every single coach gets every single time. Well, how do you think that last power play went? Well, we got some chances. All right, thanks. Have a good one.
To be on the devil's advocate side, if you get that 1 in a million where the coach actually says something that was pertinent to the play or the period or something just happened, then you're like, gold mine, and that's what
Right.
they're hoping for.
Oh.
Like, that's what they want, and when they do get it, you're like, bam, I'm going to win one of these. The
Uh,
Emmy's coming your way.
Hashtag points to the Emmy.
Right.
Bam.
But also, it's like almost like if you go the opposite of what Dan says, you're just beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Through a ghost town. I'll even add that onto it. So,
Ghost Town, dead horse getting beat.
falling upon deaf ears.
Well, and I mean, everybody knows about the jokes about anytime somebody interviews hockey players, like, oh yeah, we just got to get pucks deep, and just play for the team, and good things will happen. We'll get the game. Just play as a team, get pucks deep, get to the front of the net, we'll get there.
And
What?
like from a hockey standpoint, the directors, and it's more the directors usually, but it's more the producers, the people who actually tell the story of the game. They know who will be a good interview and who won't be.
Yeah.
So you might have a game-winning goal by somebody who isn't a good public speaker, and they might give you those type of answers that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So then you're like, all right, I'm going to get somebody who was mucking and grinding the entire game and really helped out, had a couple assists or made a huge check or some defensive play, and that's your player of the game.
Right.
That's a real
Because-
gem on the vocab.
You're welcome. I studied up on the thesaurus. But you have those you get those guys that you want to hear from. Otherwise, it is bad TV.
Oh yeah, it's like
Yeah.
your Bordelos or your McLeods or something like
Yep.
that. Those like guys that don't get those TV opportunities or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that.
I loved
often.
Cody's. I love Cody's interviews, man. He was
it's
always so
just
good.
straight to the point.
Yeah.
And he kept everything on the ice.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's one time when we were like the coolest players. I had a buddy of mine that was walking down the Pep Center after Cody got kicked out from a fight, and it's 2 of my buddies, and they're walking right next to him, and Cody's coming down, and my buddy looks and he's like, "He called you a pussy," and Cody just looks at him and just starts laughing. And the guy got thrown out. He had stitches in his face, and it was a pretty good fight. Cody won, of course, because he was pretty badass.
Oh, Bruiser,
Right.
baby, Bruiser.
But he was cool. Like, he would talk to you and he laughed, and this guy was like, what? The guy who was like, he called you a pussy. And that guy's like, whoa.
I did not. I did
That's
not.
Cody
It's-
McLeod.
He's all just laughing at it. That's hilarious. That's
It was
awesome.
cool. Like, and he'd talk to you, and they finished walking down the hall, and we were like, what was that all about? and then you find out the backstory, and you're like, that's why that guy was cool. And majority of the players are like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, oh sorry.
oh sorry, but well, I even heard a story with Cody McLeod. I forget what player that he used to play with, but he took him out to a steak dinner and everything at Buckhorn Exchange, just
Oh,
downtown
nice.
Denver,
Yeah.
and just like went and they played a hockey game, and he whooped the holy hell out of the guy. And he was all bloodied and beaten. They still went out to the bar for drinks afterwards,
That's
and they
what's awesome about
left it
hockey.
on the ice.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Cody Mack was just like, you know what? You're one of my best friends that I grew up in, like, you know, the ECHL
Yeah.
or CHL or whatever. And yeah, you always had my back. I've always had yours. Let's just go out and have a good time and just let it be.
Another good story about Cody McLeod. This actually attributes to Keith's mom, Adrienne. She actually got me a signed stick by Cody, just out of nowhere, man. She used to handle like my tickets and stuff, and I had asked her. I was like, so if I get that 3-game puck pack, do I still get the signed helmet? They were offering like a signed helmet by like one of those mini helmets and stuff. It's like, do I still get that? I'd really like to have that. And she's like, who's your favorite player? And of course, I'm like, oh, that's Cody McLeod for sure. It's got to be. And as luck would have it, he was he was in the ticket office, like getting some Jay-Z tickets. And Adrian, she was just like, hey, can you sign something for my buddy? He's awesome. He loves you. And he's like, oh, absolutely. So he went and got a stick and just signed it to me, and I was hanging up on my old wall right there. And I think that just, I mean, just out of his, the goodness of his own heart, I think that really shows a lot about Cody McLeod. And I mean, I'll hold it dear in my heart till the day I die.
Cheer.
Yeah, tears.
Got some cry
Oh,
in
tears.
your eye.
It shows his character because he could have. You guys went to the ticket office, right?
Yeah.
And he could have easily got one of those little envelopes that you have that you put the tickets in for will call.
Right.
And he could have been like, da 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 da, yoink, here you go, kid. But
Right.
no,
Yeah.
he wouldn't got you a stick.
Yeah.
That's the type of guys that most hockey players are.
Yeah.
Especially the tough guys, like that. Some of the toughest guys are like the nicest guys. They're little teddy bears off. I'm probably gonna get my ass kicked for saying that by somebody. I mean, George Paris is gonna come down from wherever the hell he is and like,
Twisting his
don't call me a
mustache.
don't call me a damn teddy bear, But that's another one of the reason fucking 5,000 why I love hockey players.
It's a common respect
Yeah.
that you have for each other. It's
Truth.
You are right on that, Dan.
Truth.
And, yeah.
And can you believe the guy listens to Jay-Z?
And that's the funniest thing about it is like Jay-Z tickets. It wasn't like Zach Brown band or something. And obviously, we're like just straight stereotyping
Amen.
here. But I mean, yeah, it's like Jay-Z. Could you see Cody McLeod, with all his front teeth knocked out, just going and seeing Big Pimpin' or something?
Oh, God.
Wait, is that Jay-Z, Big Pimpin'?
No.
Oh.
Spending G's, no.
Men and G.
Well, all right, 99 Problems. There you go. There you
That's
go.
Black
Sorry.
Albums.
Black album. I don't know. I
There
don't.
you go. That's all you need.
90s hip hop or nothing for me. Sorry. Delta Funky Homo Sapien all the way, baby. So we got off track here a little bit. Jay-Z, I got 99 problems, but this pot ain't one, dog.
Didn't we joke that he got like Backstreet Boys tickets or something like that?
Yeah, we couldn't remember. We were talking
Yeah,
about
we
it
were,
another time.
another
It's like, I think it was like Backstreet Boys. We were like, no, I'm pretty sure it was Jay-Z.
another moment where we should have probably mixed in a water or two, but yeah.
But still, that was still. Well, no, that was Jan that mentioned that like before we even got started.
Oh, well, you were talking about Eric Johnson, and like we asked him, well, what kind
He's
of
big.
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, I imagine so.
Well, I mean, I'm just sitting in this wheelchair. I'm looking up at you. I'm like, how's the weather up there, guy? He's thick too. He's really thick, which is crazy.
Meaty, some would say.
Meaty, yeah. Oh, yes, Dan, meaty.
Thick.
Why don't you? All right. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I think you've actually worked a lot for different broadcasts. Do you ever get like insight on just like the guys that do the commentary? Do you ever get to hear any like shit talking that they do off the air? Have I backed you in a corner?
Not at all.
You don't have to name names. But I mean, like, is it like rampant, just like hockey players, or is it a little more controlled? I guess.
I think it's with any job is going to happen anywhere in any spot, but you really see the people who are the announcers that are cool. We're fortunate here in Denver. Peter McNabb is awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And then you got the Moj too.
Yep, and Connor is an awesome guy. McGahee.
Oh yeah.
I get the exact opposite feel from him, man.
Oh really?
I kind of feel like he's a little uptight.
He's not. He is super nice. Like, he's dedicated to his craft. He wants to do a good job. He wants to deliver. He puts in the time and effort. He's actually. It's funny because you see these people's TV personality, and you like, oh man, that'd be some guy I'd want to hang out with at home. And then you get to meet him, and half the time you don't. You get to know him. Peter McNabb, he'll sit down and tell you stories about the time he got kicked out, and went into the stands.
He's actually quite embarrassed about that.
I'd believe it. I
mean, you are in the stands, like, beating a man with his own shoe. Well, I think that was Milbury that was beating him with his shoe.
That was Mike Milbury.
Yeah, not a surprise from him.
Right.
But, I mean, yeah, you meet Peter McNabb, you're like, this is the guy that hopped into the stands and trying to beat people's ass, But, I mean, that's a good story to tell. I probably wouldn't tell it to my grandkids.
We should
Or
try to
maybe I
get the
would.
guy on.
Well, and which leads me to this is like, yeah, I totally agree. Pete will sit down with you. I think almost I made it a habit just to go and see him before the pregame. I've had a chance through Dog Nation to really like sit down and talk with him a lot. So almost before every game for a while, I'd go over there and just chat a little bit of hockey with him. And he'll sit there and he'll have people like yelling at him like, Pete, you got to get upstairs. Yeah. And he'll sit there and talk to you, and I think that's really cool.
He's a genuine good guy.
Yeah,
and that's what you want, And then you have other people that won't give you the time of day, and that's to us who we work with them. It's like,
yeah.
Hey buddy, I'm here getting a paycheck just like you. People don't know who I am. They don't, and which is fine. I'm behind the scenes. But you don't have to be mean to us. People like Peter and actually Connor, he sits down and he'll say hi to everybody beforehand. Moj is a great guy. You get those people. Kyle Keefe's a good guy. He'll joke with you.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. And Rycroft
Rycroft
seems, yeah.
We always try to stop off and see him before the games and everything. They're just good guys.
The thing is with those guys, they're just having fun. And that's what it should be.
And
always
another story. I'm full of stories today. So you might see, like, if you dig a little deep into my Facebook, you'll see pictures of me during the post game. Like driving in behind the post game with Kiefer and Rycroft, like several times. I mean, I was in there, man. I was in there like swimmer making. You were actually behind the camera. That's why I did it.
Oh, nice.
You were behind the camera, and I was making faces at you.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that, and you could tell that Riker had totally knew what was going on, and like he. And after the show, he came up to me. He's like, "So that was you making those dumbass faces, huh?" And it was really funny. Like, we had a good laugh about it. He took a picture with me and all of that. But I mean, you could have been like, "So you're the asshole that's trying to ruin my show," and instead he just turns around, he starts giggling about it and stuff. And I told him he reminds me so much of Mike Myers on Mystery Alaska during the intermission reports, and he loved that.
That is a great underrated movie.
Yes, oh,
It
absolutely.
is.
Easily one of the best hockey movies out there. I'll rate it above Miracle even.
Oh yeah, easily.
Goon number one. Sorry.
Yep.
Goon number one. I mean, and it's not just because it's fighting. I mean, Jay Baruchel really tells the story of what minor league hockey's like,
And what he actually went through to
Yeah.
get up to even getting a championship or even close to something.
I
that
mean, just
was
just how
even-
far he went.
Oh yeah,
you know?
well you get what I'm saying. He was not a huge player, so he just for
you'd
him to
fight
go.
like the Dickens.
Oh God, yeah, he knocked you out in 3 punches, but
Big shout out to Douglas Smith. Whoop whoop. Well, boys, you got anything else for Dan the Magic Cameraman?
I think we got most of it covered, man.
Cool. Well, Dan, thank you so much for coming on, bringing the Emmy in. You know, I'll probably never see one of those unless this scrappy little podcast goes somewhere one of these days. So thank you so much for coming. I mean, and I want to say thank you to all our listeners, and a big shout out to Austin Brody. Your stickers are in the mail, bud. They're coming. And thank you so much for listening to every episode, and I'm glad everybody's digging them. Oh, by the way,
Yeah, I just remembered, too.
I just remembered. Dan has has an app on iOS, right?
Oh, yep, only on Apple.
Well, if you guys listened to the last episode, I may have drunkenly improvised a little bit, but this guy, he's really been pulling for our podcast. He listens to every single one of them, and he was nice enough to get his stickers. So the only thing we could do is at least give him a little airtime to talk about My Beer Nation. Can you say just a little something about it?
Well, it actually first happened. I was in the parking lot down in Phoenix because I was doing a Coyotes game down there.
Nice.
And I called my buddy who I knew had a iPad app. And I used to go, he's a TV buddy of mine, and we went to college together, and he worked at Channel 9 and stuff like that. And so he had an app, and I was down there doing a game, and I was like, oh, I want to find a brewery after the game. And then I was like, hey, we should make an app together, because since I travel and do different games, you know, in St. Louis and around some other places, done a couple
But you
NHL
don't drink
games.
on those trips. No,
Oh, you can't.
no.
That would be bad.
wait, really?
Well, you can't drink one at a time. But
Just one every few hours. or
Every few
something.
hours.
There you go. I like that. All right.
so we created a beer app that kind of does a little journal of what I started drinking around the country and, you know, the different beers, and we called it My Beer Nation because it's your journal.
Nice.
And it's been a fun little hobby.
So wait, it's like a passport for like going and see like breweries and like all the tastes that you can get from state to state, basically.
Kind of. And you can do it at your house too. You know, besides just finding breweries that are locally around you, you can take a beer that you're drinking, rate it, and kind of be as snobby as you want with it because there's different layers and textures that you can go through, or you can just sit there and be like, "Hey, I tried it. I'm going to give it an A+ or a B or an A- or whatever." And this way, you can remind yourself how good was it. You know, I have a lot of pictures actually that come in my journal when I fire it up, and I got Cody sitting out by the fire or something out in the garage.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, and there's a beer in the background with Cody just sitting there, and it's fun memories. It brings you back to different times.
Yeah.
So-
some things that you may have forgotten too.
So for some people, say they get your app, they're, I don't know, Fort Collins, wherever. Like, oh, let me see what breweries are around. Then you find one, click on it, and you can actually look at people's reviews on certain beers and such as well.
We
or
kept it as just yours, as I said, My Beer Nation. Just so
Got it.
Because
Okay.
I don't like all the beers that somebody else would like, so I don't want somebody to put a bad review of something that I might love.
Got it.
So this way, it kind of helps it so that you don't be like, I'm not going to get this, but yet that might have been the best beer of your life, and you would have loved it. Because everybody has different taste buds. So that's why we kept it. But you can kind of see their, you know, what type of offerings they have, all their information for the brewery, and then their beers are labeled there. And if it's not there, you add the beer. And then you can journal it to your journal and have a little record of it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's especially nice when like beer drinkers like you guys are trying new ones, and you got an asshole friend like me where I'm like, I don't drink beer, I only drink vodka.
It'd be like my cousin.
Plus calories.
Like, I'm just up here in Chicago just drinking Pipeline Brewery and all these other ones. Try them out. Well, I can't get them. Well, you can either order them.
Look at them.
Yeah, or look at them.
Well, Dan, thank you so much, man. We had so much fun having you in here.
I appreciate you letting me come on.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
thank you for the little plug for My Beer. That was unexpected, and you guys are very nice. Thank
Well, I mean, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You know what I mean?
you. We'll work on those COVID curls.
Yeah. Oh well. Hey, man, I still got my pump. I got rid of the beaver tail, So I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
Right.
If you guys don't know, Dan's unfortunately my neighbor, and every time I have a new haircut, he comes in and just gives me just unloads on me every single time. You get a haircut, you little hipster, or you get a job, you hippie.
I do yell from the car and say, "Get
Yeah,
a haircut,
that-
hippie,"
yeah,
and drive off.
oh,
and my
yeah.
kids are always like, "Why do you say that? What's a hippie? What type of haircut should he get?"
Why are you yelling at that man in a wheelchair? You won't get it until you're older.
Jerk.
Well, like I said, thank you, Austin Brody. Thank you to everybody who's listening. We appreciate it. This is why we do it. We love doing it for you guys. Anything you guys want to say?
No, thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time, and please subscribe to our podcast. Where are we on these days? I know we expanded a little bit.
Yeah, we're on Anchor, Spotify, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and Castbox. Soon to be Google as soon as those guys get back to me. So, always stay up on our Instagram. We're on Twitter, Facebook, spouting hockey stuff and being dudes, I guess.
Yeah, don't forget that you can hit us up individually, and yeah, we'll always answer questions or concerns that you have. So
And if y'all want stickers, we got stickers.
we got stickers on stickers on stickers.
Yeah, let us know. We'll ship one out to you guys.
Oh
or
yeah,
two.
it's been going
Huh.
good lately, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
nice.
But yeah,
All right, vi hörs, hej då. Thank you.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Till next time.